Zara had always thought humans were nothing more than wild stories told by drunk traders in the Outer Rim cantinas. The blue-skinned Velthari female worked as a data analyst aboard the massive trading station Nexus 7, processing shipping manifests and cargo reports from dozens of species across the galaxy. Her pale silver eyes had seen records from the Krillian Empire, the Thane Confederacy, and even the mysterious Void Walkers, but never once had she encountered any real proof that these supposed humans actually existed. Most of her colleagues believed humans were just another spacer legend, like the ghost ships that supposedly haunted dead systems, or the ancient AI that could grant wishes. The stories about them were too strange to believe anyway. According to the tales, humans were supposedly average in every physical way, not particularly strong or fast or intelligent, yet somehow they had carved out their own territory in the dangerous frontier regions. Zara found the whole concept ridiculous. If such an unremarkable species really existed, why had no one ever brought solid evidence back to the core worlds that changed on the day the pirates attacked Nexus 7? The alarm klaxons wailed through the station corridors as Zara hunched over her workstation, frantically trying to complete an emergency data backup before evacuation. A fleet of Scarek raiders had dropped out of hyperspace without warning, and their massive ships were already launching boarding pods toward the station. The Scarek were among the most feared pirates, in known space, standing nearly 3 meters tall with chitinous armor plating and razor-sharp claws. They took no prisoners and left no survivors, stripping captured stations of everything valuable before spacing anyone unlucky enough to be caught aboard. Zara felt her heart hammering in her chest as she watched the evacuation shuttles launching from the docking bays through her office viewport. Many were already overloaded, and she knew there would not be enough room for everyone. The station defense forces were putting up a brave fight, but their light patrol craft were no match for the Scarek battle cruisers. A thunderous crash echoed through the corridor outside her office, followed by the hiss of escaping atmosphere. The pirates had breached the outer hull somewhere nearby. Zara grabbed her emergency kit and rushed toward the escape pods, but the corridors were chaos, filled with panicking civilians and billowing smoke. She turned a corner and nearly collided with 3 Scarek warriors advancing down the hallway, their weapons crackling with deadly energy. Their yellow eyes fixed on her immediately, and she knew she was trapped. The escape pod bay was behind them, and her only other option was a dead-end corridor leading to the waste recycling center. The lead Scarek chittered something in their harsh language and raised his plasma rifle. Zara closed her eyes and waited for the end. Instead, she heard a sharp crack, followed by a wet thud. When she opened her eyes, the lead pirate was falling backward, with a smoking hole in his chest armor. The other 2 Scarek spun around, searching for the source of the attack. Standing at the far end of the corridor was something Zara had never seen before. A bipedal figure about her own height, wearing simple gray clothing and carrying what looked like an ancient projectile weapon. The being appeared unremarkable in every way, with pale pink skin, brown hair, and dark eyes that showed no fear. Despite facing 2 heavily armed pirates, one of the Scarek warriors roared and charged forward, claws extended. The strange being simply stepped aside at the last moment and struck the pirate in the neck with some kind of small knife. The massive raider crumpled to the floor, twitching once before going still. The final Scarek raised his plasma rifle, but before he could fire, the mysterious figure had somehow closed the distance between them. Moving with fluid precision, the being grabbed the pirate's weapon arm and twisted it with a sharp crack. The Scarek screamed as his own rifle discharged into the ceiling, then went silent as the small knife found its mark again. The entire fight had lasted less than 10 seconds. The strange being turned toward Zara, and she found herself staring into brown eyes that seemed far older than the youthful face suggested. The creature spoke in perfect galactic standard, though with an accent she did not recognize. "I am Lieutenant Amy Brooks of the human survey ship, Liberty," the being said calmly. "Are you injured?" Zara stared in shock. Human. The word seemed impossible, like something from a fever dream. "You are actually real," she whispered. "Real enough," Amy replied with a slight smile. "We received the distress call. About an hour ago, my team is working to secure the station and evacuate civilians. Can you walk?" Zara nodded numbly, still trying to process what she was seeing. This human looked so ordinary, so unremarkable, yet had just killed 3 Scarab warriors with casual efficiency. The pirates were among the most dangerous fighters in the galaxy, trained from birth, for combat and warfare. "How did you do that?" Zara asked as they moved through the corridors. "How did you move so fast?" Amy shrugged. "Practice. I suppose we humans tend to be pretty good at adapting to dangerous situations." They reached the main evacuation bay where Zara saw something that defied everything she thought she knew about warfare. A small group of humans, maybe 20 in total, were systematically dismantling an entire Scarab boarding party. The pirates outnumbered them 3-1 and had superior weapons and armor. But it did not matter. The humans moved like water, flowing around their enemies' attacks and striking. With lethal precision, they used the environment to their advantage, turning corridor intersections into kill zones and using the station's own systems against the invaders. One human had somehow reprogrammed a maintenance robot to attack the pirates with its cutting torch. What shocked Zara most was how ordinary they all looked. Like Amy. They appeared to be completely unremarkable beings, the kind you might pass on a street without a second glance. Yet they were carving through elite Scarab warriors like they were made of paper. A massive explosion shook the station, and emergency lights began flashing. Lieutenant Amy Brooks tapped a device on her wrist and spoke into it. "This is Brooks. We need immediate extraction for civilians in Bay 7. The station's reactor is going critical." A man's voice crackled back. "Copy that. Amy shuttles are inbound. ETA 2 minutes." More Scarab poured into the evacuation bay, and Zara found herself pressed against the wall as the battle intensified. One of the pirates broke through the human defensive line and rushed straight toward her, claws extended and mandibles clicking with rage. Amy appeared between them as if from nowhere, moving faster than Zara thought possible. The human woman caught the Scarab's claws with her bare hands and held them inches from Zara's face. The pirate was nearly twice Amy's size and weight, but somehow she was matching his strength. The Scarab pushed harder, spittle flying from his mandibles as he strained against Amy's grip. Zara could see the human's arms trembling with effort, but her expression remained calm and focused. "You picked the wrong species to mess with," Amy said quietly. With a sudden twist, she redirected the Scarab's momentum and sent him crashing into the wall behind them. Before he could recover, her knife found the gap in his armor plating. Human shuttles descended from above, sleek craft that moved with impossible grace through the chaos of the space battle. Outside the viewports, Zara could see human fighters dancing between the massive Scarab battlecruisers, their small ships somehow outmaneuvering vessels 10 times their size. The evacuation proceeded with military efficiency. The humans had turned what should have been a massacre into a rescue operation, saving hundreds of civilians while systematically destroying the pirate fleet. Zara boarded one of the rescue shuttles. She found herself sitting across from Amy Brooks. The human woman was calmly cleaning her knife as if she had just finished, preparing dinner rather than fighting for her life. "I do not understand," Zara said finally. "You are not supposed to be real. And even if you were, you should not be able to do what I just saw. How is any of this possible?" Amy looked up at her with those strangely old eyes. "We get that, a lot, actually. Most species assume we are either mythical or weak because we do not look particularly impressive, but humans have something most others do not." "What is that?" Amy smiled. And for the first time Zara saw something dangerous flicker in her expression. "We refuse to quit when everything looks hopeless, when the odds are impossible, when any sane being would surrender or run away. Humans just get more stubborn. We have been fighting and surviving and thriving for millions of years on a world that tried to kill us every single day. We learned that there is no enemy too big, no challenge too difficult, and no situation too desperate." She gestured toward the viewport, where human ships were finishing off the last Scarab cruisers. "The galaxy thinks we are weak, because we do not have natural armor or claws or psychic powers. But they miss the point. We do not need those things. Because we have something better, have each other, and we have the absolute certainty that giving up is not an option." Zara stared out at the stars, her entire understanding of the universe shifting. The stories had been wrong. Humans were not unremarkable at all. They were the most dangerous species she had ever encountered, precisely because they looked so harmless as the shuttle jumped to hyperspace, carrying them away from the burning wreckage of Nexus 7. Zara realized she had witnessed something historic. She had seen the moment when humanity announced itself to the galaxy, not with grand speeches,